The word ethics has been translated into Chinese as lun li, which is actually a misleading translation, because it's based on the root of Greek etymology of ethos, refers to the principle of human existence as a part of the universe, which would be more appropriate if translated into morality or moral philosophy. Since the concept of lun li contains the Chinese characters lun, which means differential and order, it is hard to avoid leaving room for smuggling the concepts of Confucian seniority and inferiority and subordinate obedience under the Chinese character cultural circle. For example, such absurd words as officialdom ethics have unexpectedly appeared, which ideologically exclude the concept that the power of modern government must be checked and balanced. However, in order to facilitate and comply with the custom, this article still retained the usage of ethics. The discussion of ethics in the world today is undergoing an earth-shaking change, and no one knows what the principles of personal and social conduct will become in 20 years' time. This dramatic change, almost equivalent to the reversal of the Earth's north and south poles. Although changes in social patterns are also a factor such as urbanization and globalization, the main driving force behind this is still the leap in science and technology. It ranges from the determination of responsibility for driverless traffic to the health consequences of genetically modified farm, fish and animal products, to the transformation of the infant's physique or even gender through a genetic engineering, and to the creation of artificial sheep, which has already succeeded countless times. On November 15, 2017, mankind's first case of head replacement surgery was declared successful. A major event that violated the most basic human concept of life, many people because they felt nausea and turned a blind eye. But in fact, as early as 2016, Italian neurosurgeon Sergio Canavero had already succeeded in changing the head of a dog, and the restored dog was alive and well. After successfully experimenting on dogs, Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin agreed to pay $250 million for the team to conduct a living human head transplant experiment in Russia, targeting a paralyzed young man from the neck down. In the outside world do not know the circumstances. The team transferred the preferred site of the head-changing project from Russia to a military hospital in Shenyang, China, but the scope of the experiment narrowed down and the team changed the head of the two bodies that had just died, although it was a dead body. But after a variety of medical tests after 18 hours of surgery, the Italian and Chinese teams announced the success of the operation. It was also scheduled a living head transplant in China in 2018. Why did Putin actively want to promote it in Russia at the time? We speculate on the basis of a bad man's mind that Putin is less than 60 years old and is about to enter the 20th year of his rule in Russia. And if he wants to revive the Russian dream of Peter the Great during his term, would not he want to reserve an opportunity to replace his head on a younger body and then rule Russia for more decades? In ancient times, the Emperor Qin Shi Huang could only send men out to sea to find the elixir of immortality for the sake of eternal rule. And although there is still no elixir today, the techniques of immortality has matured. Well, let me continue to use the bad man's mind. Putin is not a fool. Is China's leader a fool? Is it accidental that the head replacement surgery is moved from Russia to China? This may be the greatest ethical or moral challenge that humanity faces before robots take over from natural humans. It would be shocking to replace a head of a living person to continue life. But in fact, in 30 years' time, the technology of immortality may become the norm. Ray Kurzweil, Google's chief creative scientist, in his famous book Singularity, predicts that machine intelligence will replace natural intelligence beginning in 2049. Starting from 2030, natural persons will be able to gradually enter the age of 120, 150 and 200, and then into the realm of immortality, because of medical technology and genetic engineering. For such subversive ethical issues, Western countries have adopted the attitude of walking on thin ice, caution and fear. But China is so different. It has always been a country where the legalists take the lead and collectively overwhelm the individual, daring to touch the limits of ethics and morality. From controlling privacy to ruling society through science and technology, China is walking at the forefront of mankind. The continuation of a particular person's life by changing his head or by other means of biotechnology, medicine or electronic means does not exceed the Chinese spectrum on the scale of thinking. The Wall Street Journal once published a special article to analyze why the DNA knowledge developed in the United States. When the United States law does not allow experiments, China has been the first to conduct a variety of live experiments, and its technological achievements have already surpassed those of the United States. China has a population of more than 1.35 billion. From a purely scientific point of view, China is a country with the richest and most complicated stock of DNA on Earth. It is different from Western religions and medical ethics, and insists that no other country should interfere with its sovereignty and human rights. The world knows nothing about China's ethical bottom line. Various indications show that China will become the largest and most unscrupulous ethical laboratory on Earth in the next decade. And the progress in various fields such as biotechnology, medicine, artificial intelligence, and social management is bound to astonish the world. What will be the impact of this leaping, borderless progress on humanity as a whole? This in itself is an ethical issue that the world must begin to think.